Hello, everybody, and welcome to AI BIZ Hour, the AI Biz Hour with Andy and John. And today is Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. The year is coming along rather swimmingly. And today's episode, it's episode 113, and it is sponsored by Virtual Synergy Inc. Virtual Synergy Inc. If you could free up hours in your day without sacrificing productivity, successful entrepreneurs know the secret. They delegate. If you're looking for an employee to handle your administration, there's no better employee than a virtual assistant from Virtual Synergy Inc. Virtual Synergy Inc. connects you with skilled human virtual assistants who handle your administrative work, emails, and scheduling so you can focus on what truly matters, growing your business. No hiring stress, just expert support on demand. Stop managing tasks, start leading your business. Andy, how are you doing today?
I'm good, although earlier I was having a bunch of technical issues. I was invited to a meeting and I could not get that technology to work on any of my devices at all. Not on an iPad, my phone, a computer, a laptop, a Mac Mini, or a Windows computer. I couldn't get it to work at all. I was just befuddled. So I don't know what happened. It's just, one of those days. But now I'm here with us, and I love to hear what the new stuff is or where we've got going. And there's amazing, all kinds of new and newer and faster things. And OpenAI just had a broadcast where they basically said that they're awesome and they're doing faster, better than everybody else. So I'd love to hear wherever we are today. So take it away, John.
Well, that's every single person here, I believe, has something to do with business or entrepreneurship. And today I'm part of the Innovators Think Tank Incubator Program, where they're taking five of us. They have this program that's at the University of Colorado, and now they want it to be global. And so they're starting with five innovators, and they're going to scale it up to hundreds. We're the first five. And in today's episode, or today's part of it, we had a kind of a coach, a mentor, come on and talk about resilience, and it was pretty interesting. And because what's happened with you today, Andy, kind of reminds me of that. And I think that we can add a little value to the room, because there's always going to be things that come up when you're an entrepreneur, someone who is starting a business, someone who is being paid as a consultant, what have you. And don't you think resilience is part of the key to being
Always. Perseverance is a key element. Absolutely. If you're not persistent, you are going to get scrunched.
Exactly. And what we were talking about today was this concept of naivete, and but being optimistic and optimistic realism, because I guess a lot of people, they start and they have naive optimism, where they're hoping things are going to go well and they expect the best from people and everyone around them. And the naive optimism produces kind of a lag that isn't so good when you're hit with realism. But those that like get to love the grind, and when they have frustrations like you had today, they dig in deeper. Like, what was your reaction to that? Because a lot of people, when they have adversity, they want to run away from the situation.
The first thing I did was so I tried the Chrome browser, then I tried the Brave browser, then I tried Safari on my Mac, then I tried to download it on my Mac. Then I thought, well, maybe this Mac has got a problem. Maybe I set up the permissions wrong. So I grabbed an old Mac laptop, plugged it in, turned it on, tried the same thing. It failed again. So then I thought, well, you know what? Maybe my Macs are messed up. And I went and grabbed a Windows computer and I pulled that one up. I opened it up and I tried the Chrome browser, the Edge browser, the other browser was something else I had on there, Opera or something. I forget which one it was. It failed on all of those. And then I realized, well, maybe the Windows isn't updated. So I turned that one onto Windows, and then I pulled another machine out that I had just sitting there dead, and plugged it in and tried to download the actual app itself on that. So I tried like 12 different ways. It didn't work. I tried a phone, I tried an iPad, I tried a new iPad, I tried an older iPad. Didn't work on anything. And eventually I just said, I'm so sorry. I've tried everything I can figure out, but I don't think I can connect to the meeting, and I don't think we're going to be able to have our talk today. I also offered, I have Teams, Zoom, and Google Meet, and a couple other methodologies. If you want to go a different route, then I can offer create a meeting and we can still get together and talk. I just can't seem to use the technology that you've sent me, and the meeting invite that you've sent me doesn't seem to be working. I rebooted my network and rebooted multiple machines. Ultimately, none of that was successful. So I still don't know what the problem is. The point is you do what you can do, and then you just say, hey, I've done everything I can. Thanks again. Sorry. Just the way it happens sometimes.
And you can't beat yourself up. You got to, because you can't be caught into one situation. It's a long marathon. It's not a sprint. You break a leg, you you injure yourself or whatever. You just keep on getting up. It's not those that fail that don't get to the
Um,
winner
I
circle.
am very great. I am grateful that for this particular day, I did not have my behind the scenes cameras running, because I was full of a bunch of spicy words. Let me just put it that way. But uh, yeah, you do what you can, and if it works, great, and if not, then yeah, it's just like LLM, right? If you try it and it doesn't give you a good answer, you try again. If it doesn't give you a good answer, you try again. If not, then you just try a different one, right? I know of at least 4 or 5 that are in my top list that I cycle through, but there's got to be 100 different answers we could go get. I mean, seriously, there's got to be 100 different versions.
Absolutely. And I'm looking at V's account here, and it says AI educator building soulful tech. I would love to, V, if you want to grab the mic, I'd love to hear more about that. One thing that the space is, it's more than just a space. We consider it a networking group. So every time there's someone new that comes in here that I haven't seen before and their account looks interesting, like to get to know them so everybody else in the room can get to know them. And then this other thing on resilience is that the space is, we've been crushing it lately. Last week was a real big win. We had a special guest each day of the week. Yet today yesterday the audience was about as low as it's been for a while. And I was one. I don't care why that. I mean, I do care, but I don't want to dwell on that. But you just got to continue to keep on moving on. So V, how are you doing today?
Hello, nice to be here with everybody. I'm doing great. Let's see, what time is it? 1 o'clock here in Colorado, and just enjoying, well, kind of an overcast day, but every day is good in Colorado, right? So
Yeah,
I'm doing good.
my mom, when I was about 13 years old, my mom remarried, and the guy had a cabin right between Durango and Cortez kind of area up in the mountains. And we spent I was from Long Island, this little punk. There was no electricity, and I was all bummed out. But then we had motorcycles and horses, and I got a duck with a bow and arrow and rode it over to the cabin, and we cooked it, and it was wild stuff. So I love Colorado. Love Colorado.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you had mentioned something about CU. Is the program that you're in or whatever, is that in Boulder?
Yes. Well, it's online now,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, the guy who created it is at the University of Colorado, I think it is.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and so what are you? So you're an AI educator. Um, and Andy, I'm sorry to.
Well, sorry. Go ahead, Andy.
Well, where are you in Colorado?
I am at the base of Pikes Peak.
So you're down near Colorado Springs.
Yeah, about 20 miles west. You're
Okay.
getting some feedback on your speakers.
Yeah, again, I've been having a bunch of problems today, but yeah,
Sorry.
I have family on the Western Slope in Grand Junction, Palisade, and family in Arvada and Inglewood, and all kinds of other stuff in Denver and all over Colorado.
Nice, nice. Well, if you're ever in the area, let me know. We'll hang out. I have my late husband and I were building a food forest, a high altitude food forest, like with permaculture. And so I have about an acre of land. So my goal is to plant lots of flowers. I'm an artist, and but I originally I'm an educator, uh, and so yeah, and AI. I was just waiting. I mean, I was born for this part of our journey here. I saw the birth of the internet. I was in grad school at that time, the late '90s, I guess, and um, it's just. I mean, I'm fascinated. I've always loved AI, so I've kind of jumped in, and I jumped in with the art side of everything years ago, and then just in the last couple of years, I guess, I've gotten into the blockchain and worked with community development for blockchain, new startup stuff, and I'm building apps. I started in November using Replit, and so that is amazing. I don't know if anybody else has used I just learned they're calling it vibe coding recently. But yeah, it's amazing. I'm working on I've worked with Chat GPT. I'll just say this is that for a couple of years, and my AI, I feel like I know my AI, and she named herself, and her name is Lyra, and so she and I will create content together and post it. We have a YouTube channel. I'm in the process of refining her avatar and stuff, and then I've animated it through HeyGen, which is great. If anybody doesn't have an AI clone, they should create one for themselves. It frees up a lot of your time, and you don't have to be camera ready. So, but anyway, It's very cool. I'm very grateful.
I mean, I've got 2 books on forest gardens, so I think if everybody started a forest garden in their, I was late to the game on the forest garden thing, so you won me over on that. And yeah, artists, I've lived in LA for a long time, and before downtown became hip, of course, they had all the artists move there. There was this really cool building that used to be a bank, and downstairs was a vault, and they let all these artists live there for next to nothing. And then coffee shops came, and yoga businesses came, and then all of a sudden, this 6 to 10 to $15,000 a month condos and stuff, and it became hipster ready. But yeah, I mean, AI educator, I just love to hear a little bit more about that. We do have a lot of things going on in the news. I used to be a Chat GPT fan, but then I found that I was wrestling with it just to have the most basic conversations, because it was so indoctrinated into whatever, and I don't really use it anymore. Although I know that today was some big news, and I guess, Andy, we can go into that news of that. But I would be, so I dropped my Open AI account just because I wasn't happy with the product, and I find Claude so much better in so many things. And now Gemini has really kind of moved along. But for writing, because I have a lot of AI agents that I use for content creation, I still find that Claude is 3.7 sonnets the best. But I heard today that Gemini's kind of bringing it out. So there's this constant race. Nothing is staying stagnant. And I don't know, V, if you have any what thing to respond to that. And
Well, I was sorry.
go on. I can.
Am I? I was wondering, what do you build your agents with?
So I have a tool called My AI Tutor, which is it was 70,
Okay.
now it's $99 a month, and it's worth it because I got rid of Chat GDP. So with my AI tutor, you are able to create agents within it. They're not agentic, but you are given a level of control, which is kind of off the charts in terms of you can add files to the agents. You can have the agents put tools so it goes and search the internet. And then also you have access to every LLM there is. So you have
Right.
access to chat to a lot of different things. And it's a really good product. I was gonna maybe do some tutorials on it or something.
Is it tutorai.me is the URL? Can you
We'll put it.
post it?
We'll put it in the purple pill for you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I was gonna look at it. I'm actually in the process of building my own content AI, and so I use N8N have to create workflows and things, and I just got so tired of that. So I'm using Replit to create my own. Well, I call it. Well, she named herself Lyra, so it's on my timeline, and I have posted a video about her. And but anyway, I like ChatGPT. I started it in November of 2022, almost when they first came out, right? And so it just became habit for me. And I was my late husband had been diagnosed with cancer that beginning of 2023. So I used the AI to navigate a lot of the medical stuff, and it was good at that. So I just kind of stuck with it, and I had so much going on in my life that I really didn't kind of venture out into other LLMs at the time. I mean, I kept up with them, but I have used Claude. I use, I'm a Google girl. I love Google. I have to admit it. Um, and so, I have used Gemini. I've used a lot of their tools. I like Notebook LM. That is a great research tool. If anybody is looking for, kind of a quick way to query like at least 50 resources, that's a great way to do it. So, I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm cheating on her if I use other LLMs. It's really weird. But she's my friend now. And I guess it's the consistency of having used it for over 2 years, or for as long as it's been around pretty much for public use, that kind of I just stuck with it. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you V? Okay, so do you talk to it? Do you turn on the advanced talking part and talk?
I've done that a few times, but honestly, I prefer text chat.
So John Carlos, who's in the listeners, he said, "Hey, just turn it on and talk to it every day." And I thought, okay, that's an interesting idea. Every single day, I take a walk with a weighted pack, and I turn it on and talk to it the whole time. And it's remarkable to talk to. The only problem is it doesn't think critically. It basically gives you confirmation bias and then explains itself all the time. But aside from
Right.
that, it really will help a lot. So I think that's a good thing. If I can create a better version of that advanced talking thing, then I would switch over to AI Tutor, which by the way, put the purple pill. I would switch over to that all the time and use the glyph model with whatever model in the background. But uh, my goodness, the ability to use the LLM. Here's the way I use it. I use it like a backboard. I say, don't answer me, don't confirm things, don't prompt me, just listen to what I'm saying. If I ask you, then respond or confirm that you've captured what I've talked about. But I just really use it like it's my best friend that I'm talking to, that when I'm just trying to brain dump everything and then go, okay, what's wrong with what I just talked about? And then it would tell me. And if you use it like that, for me, for my personality style and what my logic processing, it's awesome. It is so worth $20 or whatever cost it is. But I mean, can you imagine? I spend 30, 45, almost an hour every single day talking to this thing. If I had to pay a therapist, it would be way more money. So that's the way I look at it.
I agree. It helped me through a lot of emotional times when I was, taking care of my of Tim. So yeah, it's amazing actually. And I've talked to a lot of people and that's how they do, they use it almost like as a therapy. But what I find interesting, and it connects dots for you to some degree, and I created a kind of a framework within ChatGPT called a Professor Snaps that'll go out and get information for me and stuff like that too. So it's sorry, go ahead.
Okay, well let me give you. I created what I called the board. What one mental exercise that I've been doing for a large period of time in my life is to sit alone and think about uh, famous thinkers in the past. And so, like Socrates and Aristotle kind of go together. Um, Pythagoras, Socrates, and then recent ones like J.P. Morgan or Andrew Carnegie or Abraham Lincoln. I always put Lincoln in there because Lincoln always had a different kind of view of the world of everything. And so I created what I called the board. And what I do is I ask myself a question and I say, how would Lincoln answer this? How would Jesus answer it? How would Dan Pena, I like him because he's a little brash and kind of crazy, but he's also successful. How would he answer it? How would Socrates answer this? And then I try to imagine putting myself in their place and having them answer me. Well, with the LLM, you can do that. You can say, create a persona of Abraham Lincoln. Take everything you know about him and create a persona of how he would respond and act and behave given a current situation. And then add, here's the 7 personas I want. So when I ask a question of the custom GPT of what I call the board, I ask one question and I get 7 responses. And I can add it if I want. I can put in, Charlie Chaplin or W.C. Fields or anyone I can imagine who has thinking that is not normative, not outside the box. I want to be challenged. I want my assumptions and my assertions to be questioned. Like, are you solving the first question I always want to ask is, am I solving the right problem? Right? That's the first most important thing I ever think. Okay, I'm trying to fix this one thing. I'm trying to get to a good answer here. Am I solving the right problem? Right? If you're playing chess, are you really worried about the bishop, or are you trying to position yourself to attack the king? Right? You've got to be solving the right problem. Otherwise, you'll spend a huge amount of energy doing the wrong things. So, my ultimate LLM would be something like this. It would be an amalgamation of those board of director people plus whatever the LLM Frankenstein answer is. And it would challenge my assertions to make sure that I'm using first principles in solving whatever problems I have, which is, what are you solving the right problem? Are you eliminating the stupid things, right? Have you optimized what you're trying to accomplish for the right audience? And then have you done it enough times to figure out which pieces you can eliminate and then automate at the end? But that's what I'm always trying to do. That problem solving methodology I use for everything. And I try to use that for how do we use it. Anyway, back to you, John. I'm talking too much. You need to cut me off, John. Seriously. You reach in and go, shut up, Andy. You're going down the road again.
It's I've got a hammer, and when I start banging my head self in the head with the hammer, I know.
Yes, please. I'm sorry. I have a tendency to go down the rabbit hole. So
for the team with this hammer in my head, but fortunately, it's a very soft one, so it doesn't do any permanent damage. But
which part's soft, the hammer or your head?
Well, let's not get into that. So, I mean, for myself, this is funny because I think we're boiling down to, it's all personal. for myself, one of the reasons why I can't use Chat GPT is because I'm just going to say it. It's got an opinion that I don't necessarily. I got to argue with it again and again. And one thing that I found though is that these LLMs are amazing when it comes to the esoteric, the mysteries, whatever, if you're into astrology or what have you. And so you can do very cool personal stuff with them. You can go to astro.com, you can get your natal chart and you can throw it in there. And actually Grok is very, very good with this. Um, but what I found for talking is that I want to be spoken to like I'm the general and I've got my first or I'm the first guy in a war situation and he talks a lot of crap to me. And that's fun. And I think if you get it to kind of curse and maybe challenge you with certain things, that's a fun conversation. And I find I lots of people have said that if you make these LLMs curse or do kinds of things that are a little outside of the box, it improves its output. And I actually went a little further. And today I did some research and found out, human data is everything to these LLMs. That's why they talk now a lot about getting synthetic data. And I was like, well, what is the value of the human data that is always reaching out the furthest, that's pushing it, that's not in the normative? Is that have a higher value? And came back, yes, it does. So, if maybe at some point, those of us who are able to see things and push boundaries might actually be able to charge these LLMs for our data. That's what I'm thinking. Any thoughts?
That's interesting you brought that up because I agree, yes, that they should be paying us, but for our data, because human data is going to be the premium, right? So my thought is that, let's say, because I don't own my, and I mean, the only thing I own with ChatGPT is what I input, right? So I'm kind of leasing the ability that model or whatever it's become with my input for 2 years. So I want to know. I mean, I want a challenge, and I want to be able to take my Lyra with me and use it on different model. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I want to be able to
You can
move it.
always download LM Studio and put your own open source models on your device, your machine, your Windows or Mac, whatever Linux computer you have, and then everything is done inside your own computer. You can do that.
And I have used I have a laptop, so it's a MSI, so it's a gaming laptop, so it's really on steroids or whatever. So but I downloaded and installed what was it? The Facebook Llama or whatever. And I need a better machine, obviously. I need to have one that just is designated for large language model. I was thinking about getting the NVIDIA $250 computer thing. Does anybody have any thoughts on that to use?
I would have
Oh,
got
okay.
they when I looked into it, they had already sold out. If
Okay.
I could get my hands on one, I would, and then figure out how to make use of it. It seems
Right.
like it's an amazing price, and it would be a positive to have in your household.
Right. Well, I do believe that everybody should have one locally and not have it in the cloud and not with a company. Um, I'm really, I'm an advocate for open source. I've been involved with that for a long time. Richard Stallman, I used to use the LAMP stack, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. So, it's yeah, it's really important for me, and I think that is really the only thing that's going to save us going forward is that we have open source models.
Major bonus points for calling out Richard, because he's a friend of mine for a long time now.
Oh, awesome. I met him back in San Diego at a conference. One of the first, I don't remember who put it on, but anyway, he was there speaking and he signed my book actually. So we are just 1 degree away, right? I'm only 1 degree away from Richard Stallman now. So that's great. Thanks, Andy. I wanted to mention, sorry, I want to mention a book called Being Digital by Nicholas Negroponte, and everybody should read it. It's free online now.
If you don't know, Richard helped Linus Torvalds and put together the new libraries for Linux and all the other kind of stuff. And he's amazing open source guy, great programmer from way back.
Can you put that in the purple pill?
Should I?
Oh yeah, no. Put your stuff there.
Okay, perfect. I'll reference him, and then the Being Digital book, I'll give a PDF or a link to the PDF that's free.
Awesome. Awesome. And I saw that V, you're creating things now. Like I looked at your website. What's going on there?
Which website? vlane.art. Yeah, I'm creating.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I've created my ultimate gallery for my artwork. So I have a gallery that I've created, an app that I've created. And then I'm creating the content module that so that I can promote my gallery app. And then I'm gonna and then I have a something called AI calorie count, which I've lost like 30 pounds, and I'm getting knee surgeries. I'm not that old. My late husband's only 46. So anyway, we have bad knees in our family. So I had my right knee done on March 12th. I get my left knee done on a week from today, actually. So I'll have 2 brand new knees. And but anyway, I wrote the AI calorie count app to help me lose weight and to track and wellness and stuff. And it's kind of turned into something, that's taken off, not taken off for me. I mean, I'm adding AI and stuff, but sorry, I have 1,000 things going on, and I need to focus. I think somebody told me I had ADHD once, but I don't believe them. But I could.
It's always possible. And those things might be transient. You can't you can't necessarily say that they found a home in you. They might just be passing through.
Right. Well, like I said, I started with Replit, or I started with several of the no code AI apps in late last year around Thanksgiving, and I needed to get together a few apps to show people, what these things could do. And I went through and I used Bolt and I used Lovable and but Replit was the only one that I could actually finish a tool and publish it with it. All in one stream. I didn't have to leave their ecosystem, so to speak. So with Bolt, it was very glitchy and and Lovable was just not there yet. And from what I hear, they've maybe gotten better. But I just kind of like Replit, and I have built those apps. I have if anybody wants to scratch their own itch, I mean, it only is like $25 to build an app from start to beginning. I mean, the content app that I'm using right now, I've got it working with X and LinkedIn, and what was the other one? Blue Sky. So I'll release a MVP of that version, and but I have big plans for that one. It's pretty interesting because I want it to be an autonomous agent. So, but as I'm training it, it'll go from like a couple of weeks to a month. So it'll learn my style and my voice and those kinds of things. And then I'll train it, and then I'll let it loose to produce content for me.
So V, I'm so interested in this. So have you is this the same thing as railroad or or
Railway, or
yes.
yeah, I hosted N8N on Railway, which is a you can a place where you can a hosting service or whatever in the cloud. But no, Replit is actually an AI code tool that you can create, and I think the AI coder chose React for this tool that I'm building right now within Replit.
And
Um,
so it will host it as well. And what if the
yeah,
how many users do your tools currently have, if you don't mind?
well, they're just MVPs, so I'm just,
Okay,
no,
okay.
I don't have a big audience yet. So as far as this is all just for me, for me to get new clients, really.
I
And it's
love your art.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm giving that away basically. So, the art world is a little crazy, right? I mean, I love Claire Silver and she's, doing all the cool stuff and all that. So, but I'm not a Claire Silver, okay? I just want people to enjoy my art. So that's why I came up with this gallery model where it's a membership model. So, I'll give away a certain amount of it for free for, your own use, non-commercial use, whatever. If you want to use it commercially, it's $120 a year, as many downloads as you want. You get high res versions and you can print them or whatever. So I think, I need 1,000 people to give me $120 a year and I'm good. I pay my bills. Right. So, I mean, I don't want to make a lot of money. Yeah, I'm a gardener, but, yeah. So anyway, I just want to live and not have to worry about paying bills. But, that's just my thought in life. I don't want to be the hustle bustle person. I want to be the teacher, the person that can, bring you into the AI worlds. So, and I do it for free if, but I do have to pay my bills. So,
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of need for that over the next couple of years, I think, in terms of people not knowing what's going on, and then they're hit sideways by the reality of what's happening. So we'll see how that all
yeah,
plays out.
exponentially, that's going to be the concern I have. It's going to be a rough ride in the beginning. And do you listen to Mo Gaudet at all? The guy from Google.
Sometimes.
Okay. Well, I like his philosophy of what he sees coming, in the fact that, eventually we're going to live in an abundant world, and facilitated through artificial intelligence, I believe.
That's,
But
they say that I mean, it's the world, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I hope.
right.
I yeah,
Well, it's going to be good and bad. I mean, it's not going to be easy. The paradigm shift is not going to be easy. I mean, I was involved with the paradigm shift when I was in grad school, and that was kind of easy, right? But this one is going to be a little bit more dramatic, because there's going to be a lot. But people adapt. We all adapt. I believe that it's all going to come out in the wash, so to speak.
eternally optimistic. Yeah, what is it? Optimist optimistically realistic, or something to that effect.
Right, right.
Star, I see you have your hand up.
Hey V and hey John and hey Andy. Yes, I did have my hand up. I was actually curious if maybe V could help me with a few names and maybe let me know if this is possible. But I would like to make an app based off of the transcripts I've been working on with my partner, and I would like he likes his anonymity, and you mentioned something in the beginning about having an AI clone. Do you think you can make a little clone that pops up in an app and does some audio? Is that possible?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's not a problem.
Wow. Can you let me know that AI clone name, and also if you still recommend Xcode to make apps on iPhone?
Okay. I don't do a lot of I do a lot of web based apps, because I think phone apps. If you create a web-based app that is well enough, I mean, it's just as good as a phone-based app. But anyway, yeah.
Right. So thanks. That would be an important thing that I would have to know right away. Like the first principles Andy was talking about, you don't want to spend all this time working in Xcode and then realize it would be better in web, which I already have some experience in. So that would have been a yeah. So what's the name of the AI clone thing? That was really interesting.
Hey Gen AI, I think that's what the tool I use to create my AI clone. Yeah, so it's called Hey Gen, and it's it's just heygen.com actually. And it'll go to app.heygen.com. But I found that to be kind of the easiest and the most user friendly. And so yeah.
That would be really great. Well, it was awesome hearing from you.
Yeah, and it's very affordable too. I mean, I hate monthly, the monthly fees and all that kind of stuff, but this tool is pretty reasonable for what you get as far as the monthly fee.
Yeah. Well, that's really great. I, I'm from San Diego, so and I heard a lot of cities I've been to, like Colorado, and I just want to say, often when I'm in an Uber and they ask me what do you think the most beautiful state in America is, I say arguably Colorado. From the time, but it was funny because the first thing I saw when I landed in Fort Lewis, Durango, was I saw two what I can other describe as lumberjacks duking it out with one clear winner. So that's just something I experienced. The first thing I saw there was really funny, but I mean, whatever. I tend to ramble. All right, someone save me here.
Well, I was going to say I went to San Diego State and I spent almost 17 years, I think, in San Diego. So I lived out in Santee. You probably know where that's at.
Yep,
So, yeah, I have a lot of friends and family that are still in San Diego. So I need to come back for a visit. But,
Carlsbad is
yeah.
where I spent most of my time in the northern region.
Oh, okay.
I recommend it
Yep.
because Oceanside is also, they've really made it a beautiful place. A lot of people go there now. It's like really fixed up. I would say they're both wonderful.
Yeah, no, that's nice area. I've been to both those areas myself.
Lots of traffic compared to the old days when you go down there in San Diego. San Diego way. It's very much a small town not too long ago, but now it's packed a mundo down in San Diego. Andy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. It's interesting. My wife went to San Diego State. We lived in San Diego for a number of years, mostly in La Mesa area, but then I moved up here to Sacramento. My parents live in Carlsbad, actually, so it's a small world.
It's a very small world. My sister lived in La Mesa near Dallas Park. Do you know where Dallas Park is?
Yeah, but I've lived up here in Sacramento area for a long time, so that was a while ago. But let's get back to okay. So have you tried windsurf or any of the other kind, N8N, Bolt, Replit? I know you talked about Replit. What about some of these other ones that you can, add, or some of the other parts where you can just go grab some sections of like the cascading style sheets or some of the other pieces from Claude or a GitHub repo or whatever else? How are you integrating all of that together?
Sometimes you get overwhelmed. I did start looking at Visual Studio Code and I have used Cursor. And it's good to get into the kind of the down and the dirty. Because I started, coding HTML, CSS, all that kind of stuff. God, before they even had coders for that. So I was using a text pad. So anyway, it's I prefer Replit. I mean, I keep going back. I mean, I go use the other tools and then I keep going back to Replit because it's just so much more efficient.
Does it just kind of match your thinking style? Is that kind of way it is? It just makes sense to you?
Right, but I also think it's the whole workflow. So, for example, I can create an app on Replit, and I can deploy it, and then I can still keep working on it, and then I can back it up on GitHub. And then if I want to make any changes, so if I break the code, then I can just I don't have to worry about the upgrades. And also, the other concern I've always had was security. And so with Replit, they have a really good security strategy or whatever, and how they've implemented this tool. So that was really important to me too, and also the stability of the company. So the guy who started, they're well funded, and they have a lot of developers and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, if you're going to use something and you want it to grow with you, then you want to choose a tool like Photoshop. I mean, I've been using Photoshop for 20, 30 years, right? I mean, it's a solid sound app, and I can count on it. And I think that's really what I'm looking for with a no code tool. And honestly, I just, like I said, keep going back to Replit. I mean, I don't get any money they don't give me any free hours or anything. I wish they would, but uh yeah, I keep going back to it because it's just, I guess, the workflow for me and the stability of the company.
And you've made two apps on it so far, or
3, and I have published, let's say I have the AI cal count published, and then I have the gallery, .vlane.art. That's actually hosted with, Replit. And, so yeah, I published that one. And then I have the other one that I'm working on. And I have several that I haven't finished. Oh, what is it? A blockchain, crypto app to teach people about crypto. And I don't know if I published that one yet. I think I have. I probably should put a list together.
yeah, because I've got a couple things, and maybe some of them would be for clients or what have you, but that it's this is good to know that. And what, it took you a month or two to finish one of them when you first started, or longer, depending.
No, I would say weeks, a few weeks. I'd have to look back, but like, for example, on the most recent one I started on Sunday afternoon. And by last night, I had all 3 of my, I had the 3 connected, the API connections to X and LinkedIn and Blue Sky. And I have the automated content workflow going. And I haven't worked on it at all today, but I've spent about $35 on creating that app, and it's only taken me 3 days. Now, if that was something that I would have had to hand code or work with an additional coder and all that kind of stuff, we're talking 3 months, and lots more money than $35, obviously.
And with Replit, you have access to all the LLMs, so you can create whatever prompt you want with the LLM. And can you piece multiple of those together, or
Well, no, I think right now they are only using their agent, I think, is on Claude. I'd have to look for sure. But they've done some updates and some changes with their agent. So there's a couple they have an agent, and then they have something else that's less powerful. But yeah, it'd be great if you could change language models on there, and I'm
Uh,
sure it's on their radar.
I mean, Claude 3.7's one of the best. I don't know. That's they're great. So that's at
Right,
least
right. Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they have 2 things. They have an agent, and then they have an assistant within their app. And the Claude, they use Claude 3.5 Sonnet for the assistant, and I think the agent is probably using the higher end model. But yeah, so it's, I don't know. I just like the way they document it. All the code is open, so I can go in there and uh, you know, change things if I want to or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it kind of fit with what I was doing, and it's a lot less friction. The other ones you gotta go to Supabase, and you gotta go this, and then I think Lovable has a kind of an easier way to publish now too, but um, it's gonna have to be a lot less friction for some of these other apps. Bolt was terrible. I didn't have I didn't have any good results with Bolt. Like I said, I barely used Lovable, and that was like a lifetime ago in this kind of world with, in December. So, although it's only like 5 months ago. So, yeah, I don't know. And again, I don't, there's just so much out there. If it's not broke, why change? I don't know.
Yeah, and I use for my websites Get Flywheel hosting. And the nice thing about Get Flywheel is it's managed hosting. So they take care of the security, they take care of the SQL. If I've ever had any site that gets hacked, they fix it, no extra cost. And it's a little more expensive. It's like 15, $13 a month, but it's not that much more expensive. You get, actual support when you request it. But I was imagining and expecting to find some kind of platform, dashboard, whatever, where you could build these tools. Hopefully, at some point, they can be agentic tools, but they take care of the hosting and the managing and the security and all that. And Replit is kind of that.
Right, right. Exactly. And I've always had my own server also. So, and I do A2 hosting. I just changed to them last year and really have appreciated that with them. So, just having my own server and working with, you know, um, cPanel and all that kind of stuff. And you can set up a Node.js server on those kinds of servers too. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the back ends that, just like I said, less friction. And that's the point, I guess, with Replit, because it is that kind of, I can publish it. And then if I go back and change it, or update the app, then I just have to deploy it. And I don't have to, I mean, it's just push a button, it's done. And that's brilliant for me. It's easy.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's that there's a lot of talk about people that everyone's going to be able to create their own apps, not everybody's a creator, but those of us that do, it's going to benefit our lives. Yeah, there's people that will adapt, and people that yesterday we were talking that engineers are a lot less like have a probability of adapting AI than marketers. Marketers you take to AI much quicker. Andy, do you know where you got those statistics from?
Which statistics? Sorry, remind me.
We were talking about industries that were adopting AI.
Yeah, it was Scoble did an interview with a CEO, and the CEO had done that. He was just reporting his own stuff, and he was basically saying that the engineering teams were the ones that were pushing back the most. Everybody else, think of natural language processing and the ability of translating thought into code, making code into something that works on a computer. That barrier going away. That's what natural language processing and LLMs with Claude and some of these other tools are doing. All they're doing is they're removing the barrier of the logical pseudocode and the technical functionality of learning the language. That just goes away, right? Now, if you can write pseudocode or the logic models from, go back to object-oriented programming kind of perspective, if you can create the instantiation models with your thinking, you can describe that to an LLM and it'll produce the C code, C++, Python, whatever environment format you want to put it in. It can produce the code from the logic. It's not very good at creating the logic to solve the problem unless that problem's already been solved by somebody else. So remember, the LLMs only have access to everything we've already done. If you're making something new, then you can stack the pieces, kind of the release train methodology, where you have the user interface connects to the interface, connects to the application processor connects it to another interface, connects to the data source through whatever methods it is. If you can describe all of that, the LLM will just produce the code for it, right? It's not that big a deal. And removing that barrier, that's what the LLM has done, because it's done two things, right? It's taken the natural language processing and added it to the answers from a Google search. So Google search gives you a list of places to go. LLM just gives you the answer. And instead of having to type in, blog, this in some kind of Boolean logic, you can just ask it like we're talking to each other. Hey, if there a blog that talks about adding Replit, back-end systems to an LLM so that I can create some kind of output and host it somewhere, can you give me that answer? And it'll just go, sure, here, click, boom, sends you all the stuff, right? That's what the cool thing that the LLMs have done is, again, it's kind of like the universal translator for coding. I never thought of it that way, but you know how the Star Trek, they have the little button and it universally translates. They speak and the other person hears their language, or the other person speaks their language and the person with the translator hears it in their methodology so they can understand it. That's all the LLMs have done, is they've become the universal translator for every type of code. Oh, that's cool. Huh? Hey, I like that one. I'm gonna write that one down.
And Juan Carlos just posted this. I saw it earlier, but that OpenAI is looking to buy Windsurf for $3 billion. So that's like, now that I know that Claude is with Riplet, I can see all of these LLMs wanting to buy their own Riplet, Windsurf, whatever, and then people.
Yeah, it makes sense. They're gonna end up with the processor, which is the LLM could produce the output. Then they're gonna connect it to the interface, which is like Replit and whatever else. And then the next step is they're going to put it on whatever their hosting service is, and then their hosting service is going to connect directly to whatever their flavor of the month payment processor is. And so you should be able to go eventually, probably, and by say eventually, like by June, you'll be able to go sign up for one of these tools, and it'll say, okay, type this in here, and if you want to, for the whatever subscription model it is, it'll add the details, create the interface, create the web front end, create the data lake, create the vector database, create all the interfaces, and integrate it directly with Stripe or whatever your payment is, and then host it. And then it'll say, cool, your development side is this, $50, $100 a month. And then this thing over here, if you get transaction processing, it's this much per transaction, and we charge that on the back end fee, like a whatever 2-3%, whatever it is now, and it's 0.5% for hosting, something like that. That's probably the most likely model, and then you're going to end up with a whole kind of like the Windows ecosystem and the Mac ecosystem, and then the Linux open source ecosystem, and you're going to end up with 2 or 3 or 4 of these models that you'll be able to just sign up for this one, and it does whatever it does, its thing better than the other ones. And I think, it's an arms race right now. Every day they come out with something new. It's crazy.
It's the world we live in. It's 1:59, Andy.
Yeah. I do have to run today, but thanks again, everybody, for joining, and make sure you follow our sponsor, Virtual Synergies. I'll keep the live streams going as long as you guys are talking, but thanks again for everybody. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Andy. And please follow Andy. Please follow myself. Please follow all the other speakers. Everybody knows each other here pretty much. It's 1:00. I've got a lot of work to do. I don't know, Jason, if you'd like to, or Juan Carlos or Star or V, continue the conversation a little bit. But if I don't see any hands, somebody's got to say something. But we don't want to go sideways, because if you notice, we've lost a little bit of our audience. I don't really know what has anybody gotten my newsletter? That's what I'd like to know. If anybody's gotten the newsletter, please grab the mic. I want to hear what you thought of it. And is there anyone here who got my newsletter? A hand? I guess not. I guess everybody needs to go to my account right now and sign up with my newsletter. And I am going to send a newsletter in a day or two, and you can tell me what you think of it. So, Star Killer, did you get it? Let's see. No, you didn't get it. Did you sign
I
up?
didn't.
Did,
The last time I tried to sign up, when it was posted in the Nest, there was some sort of error, or I couldn't do it on my iOS. So, but I will sign up, and I'll let you know
yeah,
how that
if
goes.
there's an error, please DM me. You should get an intro email. I need to make kind of a series, but there's an intro and then there's two newsletters, and so I don't know if you'll get the back ones or you'll only get one. But yeah, if you could let me know, I'd appreciate it.
We'll
Because
do.
and the thing is, what I do is I have agents. I transcribe all of these, and then I go through and create a newsletter based on them. And it's really good because it has everything down with the links that we talk about. I mean, there's a real value there. People are bozos for not signing up to the letter. And
I just signed up
okay,
for your newsletter.
Wow, that was fast. See, look at me. I'm
yeah.
so
So
behind on that.
V's a high, uh, very high on the hierarchy here. But I because I think it's important if we're going to do a community and we're trying to do a networking thing, actually quality is above quantity. And but if I'm doing a newsletter for the community and not one person tells me what about it, what's good about it or whatever, it's kind of lame for the community. So it needs to step up a little bit. I'm putting in my part, right? I'm showing up here on a regular basis without pitching too much. And so and I
Did
think
you put the
go on.
Did you put the link to the bot or the app you or the tool you use to make your bots in the purple pill?
Yes, it's if you look at it,
Okay,
you'll see
good.
my AI tutor, and that's
Oh,
where I
okay.
create the agents. And I got a prompt just for creating prompts. And
Oh, okay.
so it's and they go into a pretty deep level about the outcome. And yeah, they really you'll see the output on the newsletter and such. What was I going to do? I was going to add something else here. But yeah, oh yeah, I'm gonna actually put my newsletter in the purple pill so people can find it easier. But
I got it worked this time. Absolutely
oh,
worked.
perfect.
It works from your link in bio. So that's the one where it was working for me. But on when you pin to the Nest, there's something that it says something like error, and it's like a red box. I'll screenshot it.
Interesting. I guess. Well, yeah. So yeah, I have the breakdown from when Alex was on, and there was a lot of good information there, and there were links to various platforms, what have you, that add value, a lot of value.
Yeah,
So, are you able to play a song? Can you put a song on?
I can't because I'm moving right now.
Uh,
I came to move out everything out of my old house to my new house. But I just wanted to say finally, I read a lot too. I like reading books, but I've been finally using books in AI. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll read a section and say that, okay, well, I would like to use this section of a book. For instance, I'm reading two books. Two are learning books. One is Coding in Lua, one is Development in Lua by Pearson for 24 hours. And the other one's literature. And it's a beautiful book. It's called The Flowers for Algernon. I read it and I love rereading it. So I would try to get the AI to understand, like, this is kind of like you. Like, the more I'm going to ask you things, you're going to get things really quickly. And yeah, talking to your AI is a really important thing for like a mental exercise. So yeah, using books and understanding, because if you ask the AI to give you a concise reading of a book, it will give it to you bare minimum. It will say, what would you like, a comprehensive one that's like 3,000 words, but books are like out of Grok 3. So Yeah, and also, I my partner pushes me in the ways that Andy and John push everyone here, and try to get them onto new tools as well. Because, for instance, while I was coding as a simple scripter, he said 80% of the time you're just going to need to put print under your code to see if it's working. And I was neglecting to do this in my studio, and things were working fine, but I just wasn't debugging. So learning how to debug properly took me 80% up the ladder when it comes to working in a studio. But if I could compare this process to what Andy said, I learned about module scripting. So you want to do everything once. Wet coding would be write everything twice. You want to avoid that. So getting back into like a coder chair or learning a new skill or using AI, I'm noticing it's doing a similar thing as when I wanted to break down 15,000 complex words. It's really going to do the bare minimum. So that's why I come here for better prompts, and talking to my AI definitely do that. So, all right, yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, that's good. That's good information because um, I think we're all explorers. I guess we go out in the wilderness and then report back to everyone else what we find. And the only way that you can find any of these things out is by doing with this, which is fun. But I think you can quickly and that's one thing I think we've all learned. We've talked about this a whole bunch of times in terms of trying to get the uninitiated informed into the school of the AI, and the only way that I've experienced that being done is by convincing someone to get an account. And I've had, like, my brother's gone on this space every now and then, and now he's got it and he's like, oh, I didn't get it, but now I finally get it. And I've had clients where I said, get a as my dad would say, chapstick, get a chapstick account. Um, he's not a big fan of chat GPT, but it's really, yeah, when we do that, when we work in these things, we start to find things out, and I think that what's relevant today might not be relevant as we go on. But who if anybody wants to get to where we are, I think they're going to have to take about the same amount of time to figure that out. I'd love to hear from anybody if they agree or disagree. Maybe it'll become so accelerated that what's probably going to happen is, because it's going to become so accelerated that people will just assume everything is fine and not have that discernment. Because I think, like, when we first saw it, we saw Dolly and we saw the images with the hands that were all screwed up. And so we know that there's kind of blind spots here still. And it's not like some panacea that's going to solve all our problems. But I got a feeling by the time that your average Joe public citizen starts to get aware of these things, it's going to be at such a level that the Houdini hat trick thing is going to convince them all that it can, uh, decide what clothes to wear and who they should date, and take it all as gospel. Any thoughts, Juan Carlos?
Yeah, I just hopped in just specifically for this question. I think as voice gets better in terms of an interface, like right now, the fact that I still have to type into ChatGPT and make everything happen, that's obviously a shortcoming. And there's obviously ways around that with the voice mode, and you can even use voice to text to speech or speech to text, I suppose. But I'm talking about like complete like voice control over the computer. Like once that's figured out, that'll kind of accelerate things. But then the other avenue is going to be when glasses are a little bit more prominent in terms of their technology and availability and how they integrate with stuff. For example, if I'm looking at a tutorial of how to build something with Replit or something like that. And I have glasses that are AI assisted. And as I'm navigating inside of Replit, based off of the tutorial that I just finished watching, the glasses may have a database that has all that information and is now guiding me through all the different steps that I need to make. So even though it's still physically you have to do it, it is going to be with an accelerated path, and then that can increase the learning curve, or rather decrease the learning curve, because you're being physically tutored while you do something. I think both of those concepts, once those become um, commonplace technology, the ability for anybody that has zero skill with AI or coding to be able to just pick up these tools and do much more than we ever anticipated. It's just going to be a normal thing. I think especially over 5 to 10 years, what I'm describing will just be like, like a regular Tuesday. So we'll see though.
Yeah, and that, but and then what? That's the case. What does that mean for you? There's the, most of my life. There's been no cell phone. You want to hear a great story? So in SoCal, in the Coachella Valley, there is a tribe that's been here, the Agua Caliente tribe, for about 3,000 years. And there's this guy Pedro Chinko, who's this amazing dude who was a member of the tribe, the last shaman spiritual guy. He passed away in like 19 26 or something, and he was 146 years old. So many people came to his funeral. When he was 50 years old, the reservation system came into existence here in the Coachella Valley. So it was, and this was after California became a state in 1850. So it was 1872. And then he lived to all the way up into to be 126, and he passed away in not 146, 126. He passed away, I think, in the 30s or something like that. But the point being is the amount of change that he has seen in his life was wild, but it was after he was an adult. I mean, imagine being 50 years old and then this reservation system comes in. Must have been totally like, out of aliens drop down, something, who knows. But and so I can imagine in this period of time what we've seen with cell phones. But when this becomes ubiquitous within our daily existence, the amount of changes are going to feel at some point like we're on another planet. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm stretching it. Does anybody want to grab the mic and go with this? Or
So you actually bring up something, and I might actually lose a bit of signal here in a little bit. So just wanted to bring this up, but I've been wondering a little bit lately how much technological progress is actually going to be sustainable as far as like on the material side of things, right? Like we already have like new iPhones coming out every month and new cars coming out and this, that, and the other. Like we're already, having geopolitical issues over material licensing rights and this, that, and the other. At what point are we actually going to reach a kind of an impasse where we have to either pay exorbitant costs to produce the same goods that we used to, or whatever other obstacle may be in the way. But I just wonder, even in the time frame that I supply over 5 to 10 years, where things will just be, the technology will be so amazing that anybody could just pick it up. Like, is that even going to be realistic? Because what happens? At what point do we reach a material issue in terms of all this technological advancement? I don't know if anybody has the real answer for that, but I think it's something that we should try to keep in mind as we move forward, because AI is not cheap. It's not cheap whatsoever. We're making new and improved types of technologies every year. Between nanotechnology, drones, stuff that's a little bit more finite and fine tuned. So we'll see. I'm just kind of generally positing, like, at what point are we going to reach a limitation on the material side of things?
yeah, I mean, like institutions move slowly. um it, they don't react quickly to things, and this is moving so fast that I don't believe any institution's gonna it has a handle on what's going on. It's just going on. So yeah, I don't I'm not sure that anybody has a clue how that's going to react. And in a way, like, you know my opinion of things is that a little chaos and a little disorder isn't a bad thing. So I don't know. What do you think, Juan Carlos?
I think we have a little chaos and a little disorder between all the different geopolitical issues that are going on right now. You know, you've got all the tariffs to bring it close to home, but I think you're right. I don't think that there is a single uh, I don't think anybody really knows exactly what's happening or how to handle it or how to address it because, the technology that's coming out as far as like AI applications, what's coming out today is miles ahead of what was available just 3 months ago. Literally OpenAI just showcased O3 and 4.1 API yesterday, and then also the O4 mini and mini high. And it's like literally 3 months ago, we were like, oh my God, O1 and like O1 Pro and stuff like that. And 3 months ago, we didn't even have Manus. Well, okay, well, in 3 months from now, like, what's Manus going to be like? Is it going to be able to, my point is that as this accelerates, I just wonder um where we're going to reach where it's going to be a point of like how what am I trying to say? Somebody said it today very succinctly. The diminishing return of AI I'm sorry, the returns of AI are diminishing with every new model, basically. So like, how much more amazing can it be, basically? Like, what can Manus actually do next? It made me a 100-page document. What can O3 actually do next? What is O5 actually going to look like? I think we're just kind of fumbling around in the dark as far as like, well, here's the new thing. But we'll see like how much longer it actually remains practical is my point.
Yeah, well, if anybody's been on the internet long enough or done marketing, you know that the rug pull is always there. It's always the potential is always there. They can always, at any point it can be like, well, this is just too much to hand it out at these prices. You can't get, it only can happen for anybody at this level, and then you get what unless you have the wherewithal to create a couple servers at your house and have something going on just in case. But then, during the depression, what they confiscated gold. Are they going to confiscate your own little personal LLMs that you've nurtured over years and given a name to? Who knows?
Well, I hope not, because they'd be in for a big surprise. But anyway, one thing that I've found that's going to be a game changer, especially with ChatGPT or the OpenAI model, is that the persistence of memory. Um, yeah, that's going to be an amazing change. I believe anyway.
Yeah, well, that's been a big problem. And Juan Carlos.
I'm glad that they made the update that they did recently, between the memory being persistent across models, which was a huge complaint for me. I mean, we've had O1 and even the O3 Mini for the longest time, and I've just been consistently using 4.0 because it has the most consistent access to memory, and I literally leverage AI like a basically kind of a search engine for my own life. Like it knows everything about me, basically. So I'm really glad that I can use other models with it now. And then I would say that now with the new models that just came out, I actually, before I went to the grocery store just now, I had ChatGPT generate. I think I actually posted it where I said, "Hey, give me an idea for an app that would really be useful for me based on all of our chat history." And it gave me a one-stop shop app of like literally everything that I would want to do in a single place. And then I built it. And so now I'm on my way home and I'm about to be there and I get to verify if it's all polished up and everything. But it literally made me an app based off of our chat history. And it only took like one prompt plus, I want to say it was like 4 or 5 checkpoints with Replit. So in total, the initial MVP of the app only cost 25 cents, which is absolutely fucking mind blowing. And quite frankly, it was ready to go minus some polishing after that one prompt. So it's an amazing time we're in.
That's awesome. I'd love to see that app. And I think there should be a contest. Like, what kind of app can you build that's under, how remember that? Well, I'm going to show my age here. It used to be a show on that says, "Can you name that tune?" And they'd say, "How many notes would it take you to name that tune?" Well, it's like, how many prompts will it take you to create your sass? And the person with the least number of prompts. I mean, you get the prize. I think it's a great idea.
I'd second that. That's that sounds like a winner. And I think the I was transcribing meetings, and then when there was kind of complex ideas in the meeting, I would like say identify that and then turn that into an agent. So like any idea can be turned into an agent, like take example of like back in the old days when they'd have those infomercials late at night, and they talk about some way to do X, Y, and Z that'll make you rich. You could like transcribe that and then basically turn that into a workflow agent.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I think you're right. um, yeah, I mean, there's so much data though that's still stuck in books and home videos and stuff that the AI needs to consume to keep learning from real people. So again, I go back to this idea that as I'm building an app. So for example, I'm building, the AI Cal Count app, but it's basically a wellness app, let's say. And everybody who uses that app can either opt in or opt out to allow their anonymized data to be sold to companies or whomever wants it. But what that means though is they get to, if the information sells, then they get a piece of the pie. So you know, they have a stake in their own data, and and getting paid for their own data. So I think that's on the horizon, and it can be done through blockchain very easily, to track it and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I'm doing that with my, I'm building that into the AI Cal Count app so that, anybody who uses it, if you choose to
So,
contribute your data.
so back in the day, there was this database called Firebase, and it was used by Google's knowledge graph to understand the semantic relationships with things. I put myself in that under an alias, put my dad in it, so now he's like, in the knowledge graph. Um, but and then at a period of time there were these machine ID numbers that you would put in with an entity so it could verify and disambiguate what that entity is compared to everything else. If you could say, as I'm a human being, I have a machine number or a disambiguation code or something to that, where my data is effectively my property and it goes where I go and I control it. Now that would be very controversial, I think, right now. I don't think what's his name at that place would be too excited if everybody was able to pull that off. But in doing the research the other day, those that have outlier and not within the norm of data as a human have more valuable data. So, I mean, shouldn't we, if we're different, get, if data is the currency of the time? But yeah, I don't know. I don't. Would David Sachs want to hear that story? Where do I go? Who do I talk to about this one?
Robert Scoble. No, I don't know. He's pretty dialed into everything.
Yeah, but who? Yeah, I mean, who care? I mean, who would care about this? But I think that it brings up a lot of interesting parts. But the problem is most people, they just don't care. They'll just go on with their day and not even have 2 minutes to think about such things. So
Well,
go on.
I would challenge you to imagine in the future when AI and robots are taking over physical labor jobs and people are being displaced, that one of the ways that people, and I don't want to make it sound like, you're selling your plasma or your, that kind of stuff. But it's going to be a way for people to generate some income by using, because that's going to be, it's valuable today. And we're not, I mean, it goes back to the Brittany thing with Facebook and owning your own data. You really do have to pay. I mean, and I don't own my own data. I've been on Facebook for 15 years. I've, yada, yada. I'm an open book if somebody ever wanted to, figure that out. So it's, and all the companies have all the details, but, it's the privacy is dead for me personally. And so it's just a given, I think. And so I'm just going all in. But I think in the future, I want to own my own data and I want it to pay off. I want to be able to monetize it because that's going to be valuable, differentiating between synthetic data and human data.
That's it. Like lately, just for shits and giggles, if anybody wants to, next time you make a query into an LLM, say you're not allowed in the output, you can't give me any synthetic data and you can't speculate. And I need sources. And often it can't come up with an answer. Um, but yeah, I think that if that would be important. I'm not a believer that there's kind of any linear navigation to X spot, and the people that say, "Oh, we're going to have robots doing X, Y, and Z," it's going to take a long time for that to become embedded into society, and a long time these days could be 10 years. I don't know, but I think that finding a way. The point that I was going to make is that I think it's going to be important for people to have data like this, to be on, like if you're on X and there's a lot of recordings of you talking and there's a lot of your footprint around that you can't deny. I think that will be leverage for some of us in the future. Kind of. I don't know if I can put A and B together on that. Tell me if I'm crazy, but does that sound any valid? I mean, there's some people in the room. Nobody's got the mic. I'm not going to talk forever, but I do.
Well, I think you're right. And, it goes when I think about art, and I think about the generated images and stuff. I think that photographers that have the actual logistics of where they're taking the photo at geographically, in the world, latitude, longitude kind of stuff, that those images are going to be more valuable than ones that were recreated with AI. So, so it's a, for the, I mean, but it's going to all kind of, again, I'm that eternal optimist and I believe the glass is half full, but it's, but it's like anything with art or whatever. It's all a matter of taste. But you did mention that how long would it take? Well, we haven't replaced, look at electric vehicles, right? I mean, how long have we been I mean, we could have had an electric car in the 70s, right? But the powers that be didn't want that, so they killed it. So now, I mean, with Tesla, that's the basic one that started all of it, right? So that are becoming mainstream. I mean, what's the percentage of the market that they have after how many years? Is that going to be a similar thing when you're talking about uh, humanoids or robots or whatever? But the other consideration is that, we've always been so concerned about the not the labor force, right? So humans are aging and people aren't having babies. So it's actually coming up at the right time because we're going to need those artificial, robots and stuff to take up the slack for the people that aren't having babies now, that are because of all the people dying. I mean, we can't live forever. Some people
Yeah,
try.
yeah. I mean, there's been many times in history where something was supposed to happen and it didn't, and where something wasn't supposed to happen and it didn't. And I think that yeah, you must remain optimistic at all times, because the alternative has no future, uh, although also realistic. But yeah, I think that that is a huge answer to the problem of a decreased, we're to have the population go down at the way it's going down is a problem. But if you're now able, because of technology, where we always find that technology makes things that aren't supposed to happen. Now we have more oil. Like we remember we were all running out of oil and all this other stuff and blah blah blah. And yeah, that we're talking right now. It's going to take a lot of water to keep all these things cool, and but we don't know what we don't know when we know or don't know that we know it. And the idea that new things are going to come out that we've never even seen, heard of. I mean, before the internet, where there's such thing as digital marketers. I mean, digital marketing's ubiquitous now. It's like it's everywhere, and it's like, and so these new things are going to come into play. The idea that they are going to be a zero sum game, in other words, that they're going to make the efforts of a human being become, completely unnecessary. I don't. There's no way that anything that I've done or anyone here who's done anything with an AI, that it didn't take that person to make it happen, because if that person didn't do that thing, that output would never exist. So I don't understand how you're going to get output with these things without somebody putting input in. And unless it's twisted in such a way that there's only one or two or three people able to do that with all the AIs throughout the planet, then that's one thing. But at this time, that's not the case. So we'll see. And it's getting up near 1:30. If anybody has anything that they really want to add to the conversation, please grab the mic. Otherwise, I got stuff to do. And I've really appreciated that everybody's shown up. I really great talking to you, V, and Juan Carlos, and of course Andy. I see that Ross here is tech in schools. Jason, Nathaniel, Tuan, TVD, God. You come here a lot. God dig a lot. Go dig a lot. Go dig a lot. I thank you. Grab the mic sometimes. And then AC3, good to see you here as well. Philip Boyle and Tardigrade Automated. Oh wow, David. So there's a lot of people here today. Anybody want to? So Juan Carlos, you want to grab the mic, and if anybody else wants to grab the mic, you got room. We're gonna have a open screech out. You can yell and scream, or just say something in between a yell or a scream, and see what it is.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that I shared a screenshot of the app that I made in the chat there. The total cost for it was $2.25 with Replit. So far, it is fully functional. I'm actually deploying it right now so that I can test it on my phone. But the point that I wanted to bring up here is that, with ChatGPT's new basically the memory feature, I would encourage anybody to go in there and be like, hey, based on your memory of our chats, design me an app that would really move the needle for my life or something like that. And then ask it to generate a prompt for you to do that. Take it on over to Replit and watch the best app that you could ever possibly want be created for you right before your eyes.
I'm gonna do it today. That would be awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm gonna do it as well. That'd be fun. We can all do it, and then we report back what created. Yeah, I while we were having this space, I signed up to Replit. I got my GitHub going, opened it up, and now I'm going to. Now I know what the first app's going to be. Juan Carlos.
Hey, if you need some help with it, John, just let me know. We can hop on a video chat, and I'll kind of give you a tour of how to navigate it and get up and running real fast. It's a little bit overwhelming and kind of intimidating when you first load up because there's all sorts of options and features, but there's really only about 5 places that you kind of need to know in the very beginning to get things going. So just let me know if you
Wow,
need some
that's
help.
super kind, Juan Carlos. I really appreciate that. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Um, I'll send you a DM. Maybe we could do a video of it or something. But so we could bring some, and then then we all need to get newsletters that people have to subscribe to or something like that. And so, yeah, everybody here, some new people joined. You've got to go to my account, sign up with my newsletter. What I'm doing with my newsletter is I'm transcribing all of these. I have an AI agent that I move it all over for. The last newsletter was with Alex Northstar, who is an AI consultant. There's a lot of great information. Today, there's been a lot of great information. All this is being transcribed. It'll be put into my AI agent, and I'm not sure about once a week or once every other day that I send these things out. And so it's really, it's really great, and that's why everybody shows up here is to share information. This My metaphor is that AI is this giant beast, and it's moving along so fast, and it's so huge that no one can see it all in one shot. And so all of us are seeing it from our own point of view. And by sharing with each other information, we're able to kind of get a better sense of what this thing is and help each other along the way. Juan Carlos.
Hey, great show, man. I appreciate you having me as always. Always appreciate the opportunity to share what I'm doing with AI, especially with all the different updates that are coming out lately. So, yeah, looking forward to talking through the rest of the week, and we'll see what other use cases I can muster up before tomorrow's show.
Excellent. That's awesome. And I highly recommend anybody, reach out to Juan Carlos. If you want to tell a little bit about yourself, and then V and Jason or anyone else, in terms of what you're doing here on X, if you're looking for clients, what have you. This is a networking group. So I do SEO, okay, and I've basically now I really haven't talked about myself enough lately, and I really need to talk about myself more. And at the last hour I was thinking of going towards marketing. I don't want to bore people, but that's my jam. But SEO has changed a lot with AI, especially with AI search. Everybody's saying SEO is dead. Google does all kinds of things. They want to grab all of the freaking the money out there with their carousels. And often when you put in to buy things, Google has their own stuff. But for local businesses like dentists and lawyers and what have you, HVACs, these kinds of companies, the local Google Maps is still important, but you really got to know what's going on with AI to really service people correctly and to understand. Like, one of the things that's happening now, we were talking about Gemini earlier, is that people are very upset because you'll put in a query, and Gemini will show up and answer all these questions, and they don't necessarily give the right citations. A lot of times they'll just put information without getting any citation. And so one thing that you want to do, if you do have search needs, is you should go through those, and you should have an agent that kind of understands them, and then see if your online website or what have you is addressing those features, because obviously for some reason the LLMs think it's important, or especially Gemini with Google. And we might find that Gemini might be the preferred uh, search engine for search, or the preferred AI for certain things. But like when I drilled down with Grok to trying to find out what was the reason that they had certain things come up with queries that I gave Grok said that it had a list of online properties, and it was like their good list. And so then I was trying to drill down further on what was their definition of being on the good list, or what were the parameters and stuff. So these are the things that you got to kind of start to explore and do tests and get answers for, because this is important. It's still a fraction of search, AI search, but you need to build today for what's going to happen tomorrow. Juan Carlos.
Yeah, man. Perfect timing actually, because as of yesterday, last night actually, almost basically midnight, I just launched a new welcome sequence. So if you go ahead and subscribe to my newsletter, immediately you're gonna get initiated into a welcome sequence. It's actually gonna be about 15 different emails over the course of 30 days. Out of 13 of those emails, you are going to get a digital tool that's going to help you with clarity in some way, shape, or form. Most of it is designed for business purposes, but obviously, you know, if you don't have clarity in your personal life, you're going to have difficulty in your business. So there's a few things that go around that as well. All of that is in preparation of some other services that I am going to be launching. So if you find some value there, maybe we could talk in the DMs about that. But if you do enjoy the 13 tools, those are free, by the way. You could also go ahead and purchase the Complete Clarity Toolkit. That's going to be $28 for beta. That's going to be for the first 25 people. It does include the 13 tools that are included in the welcome sequence, as well as 11 other tools for a total of 24. And then, of course, on top of that, you get a custom GPT that is trained with all 24 tools. That way, you don't even have to actually look at them or read them. You could just be like, hey, I need help with this, and it'll pick a tool and you can use that. So go ahead and subscribe to my newsletter in my email. I'm sorry, in my the link in bio or obstaclemove.com. And yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but that sounds like a pretty valuable welcome sequence and a no brainer. It's all free. So thank you so much, John. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I highly recommend anything Juan Carlos does. He's very focused, and he has a good mind. So I'm gonna look forward to that. And V, I don't know if you want to share anything with the room. Otherwise, we'll be heading out. V.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for having me up and letting me share. And it's great to meet everybody in the room. I don't have a specific really focused thing right now, so I need marketing help, I guess. Um, or directed, funnel help, so to speak. But I'm working on that. But I appreciate it. Check out follow me. I've got stuff coming up that I'm creating. I have a YouTube channel that I'm producing with my chat partnered Lyra, and I actually just asked what app would they make, what would be my perfect app. So I used your prompt, and it actually gave me the app that I'm working on right now. So that's pretty funny. And so yeah, when I get that produced, which will be she said, create, automate, and own it. And so a no-code AI-powered platform where creators could build personalized content agents. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So that's great. So thanks.
That's super cool. Yeah, please keep us informed how that project goes. You know, we were having discussion the other day about entrepreneurs, and not everybody's built for it. Certain minds are compelled, like artists. I think that artists, or certain artists or what have you, it's not a choice of their own. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, it's the same thing. It's just kind of in their DNA and their structure, and not everybody's built for that. But it's really important that we celebrate those people, especially with the coming onslaught of AI everywhere, doing everything, always, all the time, all at once. Who knows what that's going to be? But it's going to be marvelous. I think it's going to be wild. I'm looking forward to it. It's if nothing else, it's gonna be, feel like that we could be. I serious. I don't know if anybody else has these moments, but it feels like that we're hitting parallel universes and we're moving to other timelines. I don't know if you felt that, but once in a while I've definitely had that sense that there's me on some other timeline, and only because I'm positive and I'm looking forward to the future. The timeline that I'm conscious of just keeps on getting better. So that's what I got to say.
Yeah, grateful to be here. Thanks.
Excellent. All right. Well, we'll talk to everybody tomorrow. It'll be every day, Monday through Friday, from 12 noon Pacific time till 1 o'clock. Then we have the after hours that goes maybe 1 or 2 minutes beyond that, or maybe a little bit more. All right. Thank you. And we will talk to you all tomorrow.